Hi YouTube, this is the first episode in a series of tutorials where I will show you some of the techniques I use to add a bit of randomness and glitch to my music. The first few episodes will go through some basics and fundamental things that you will need to know for future episodes. So if an LFO is a term that is not familiar to you, hang in there. So automating your automation. You know, in Ableton you can draw in your automation by hand, but you can also do this automatically and add a bit of unpredicted randomness to it. So what we're going to use is Max for Live. There is a device in there called an LFO. If you don't have Max for Live, don't worry, hang in there. I'm going to talk a bit at the end of this video about a different way you can achieve a similar sort of thing, but I'm going to start off with this LFO technique because I think it's really quick and really powerful. So if you go to Max for Live, and if you have lots of things to search through there, just type LFO in and it will find them. I'm going to use this LFO2 here, which is a free one. You can download it for free on Ableton's website. I'm also going to put a link in the description if you want to use the same one. So if the term LFO is new to you, it basically stands for low frequency oscillator, and what it does is it generates waveforms, slow waveforms, not as fast as sound, so you can't hear them. So just to show you, if I crank the amount up here, you can see the wave appearing. We can change the frequency to change how fast that wave is moving. See, it's a bit slower now. Now there is the map button here, and what that allows you to do, you can actually map this wave or the movement of this wave to any parameter in Ableton. So whether it's the cutoff on your cutoff frequency on your synth, or the volume, or lots of different effects parameters and things. What I'm going to show you just as an example now, I'm going to take that and map it to the send channel of this drum beat here. So this is going to send it to a reverb. To listen to that now. So you see how that is sending different amounts off to the reverb. I'm just going to go through some of the parameters on this LFO. I think you can explore some of them, and some of them are a bit more self-explanatory. So obviously we looked at the amount that we see, how high this wave is going. You can see here on this dial, it's moving quite a lot now. If we turn that right down, you can see the movement is very subtle, which can be really effective just to make any static sound just a little bit more organic. So as you can see, it's sort of moving back and forth, sort of roughly around 11 o'clock. If you want to change where that center point is, there's the control knob here. So if I pull that right down, it's going to move there right at the beginning of the dial. Obviously move it right up if you want it to happen up there. The frequency is obviously the speed it's moving, so you can crank that right up. This is currently a sine wave. You see this very smooth wave. There's a drop down here where there are lots of other waveforms you can choose from, and one that I use a lot is the sample and hold. Let's just crank that up here so we see a bit of effect. That basically just jumps to random values, which can be really good for creating random effects. There's also a sync button here if you want to sync the speed of this to the speed of your track. And so you will be creating different divisions depending on how fast you want it to move. So if we play that back now, see here we get some random reverb. We can just add more of these. We can do the same with the delay. So all of a sudden you hear that very static loop is already a lot more animated, and it will never sound the same twice. This is very basic. I really encourage you to go in and just play around a lot with these. Do everything from something really subtle to something just going absolutely crazy. Now I'm going to show you if you do not have Max for Live, what you can do to achieve something similar. So I'm going to delete these two, crank these up. So if you go to your clip view, let's drag this out a bit so we have a bit to play with. Let's open that clip. You see it here. If this button is not clicked, make sure you click it. That allow you to draw the automation. And that's what I was saying earlier, that it's not... I'll just show you. So let's say we got this beat here. Oops, sorry. Here you can set the mixer, and we want to have the reverb send. Basically, here's where you choose which parameter that you wanna draw in. So we've got everything selected here, and you can pick a ready-made waveform if you just right-click there if you don't want to draw it by hand. So we got that. So when we play this now, actually let's just turn the delay off because it's just been easier to explain. Go back to the reverb. As you can see, now we don't have that randomness. The reverb is coming on exactly at the same time every time. But what we can do to get around this is there is this link button here. If we click that one, all of a sudden this automation is a clip in its own right, and you can make this clip shorter. That means that this will loop independently from the actual drum pattern, because this will reach the end much quicker, and all of a sudden you've got that randomness again. Voila, that's it for this episode. Please subscribe and like, and the bell and all that sort of stuff if you want future episodes. I'm going to go into how you can apply this to a lot of interesting effects, and well, actually a lot of the stock plugins that you might be quite bored of by now. When you get the idea of how to use this technique, it's going to breathe a lot of new life into your stock plugins. I use them all the time. They're amazing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you come back to a new episode or the next episode. Thank you very much. Goodbye.